Plumbers live and breathe the trade. They are passionate about it. I'm passionate about it. I get it. We like doing good plumbers do good solid work, right? And so if you have an install team, you have your plumber that goes out that has the social skills, that can close calls, that can do all that work, right? And prepare. Probably, I don't know what the percentage is, but the majority of plumbers just want to be really good plumbers. Those are your install leads. They're really good plumbers and they like doing plumbing. And so you let them. Install plumbers get paid well too. They get six-figure jobs as well. They get the work done and they install a lot. They have the opportunity to make six figures as well. Well, hey everyone, before we get started today, let's like and subscribe. We really want this channel to be successful because we're here for you, and the knowledge that you can get from us, I think, is very valuable. I hope to be one of the places that you lean on to learn the insights of running a better business for you and your family and all your employees. Thank you for watching. Today, we're going to talk about how you build and support a $1 million plumber. Wouldn't that be nice if everybody could have $1 million plumbers in their company? Something that's really rare still to this day. And I have multiple $1 million plumbers. I want to give you a little description, if you will, or organizational input to help you do the same. And before we go into that, I'd like to introduce my co-host here, Mr. Landon Brewer. How are you doing, sir?
Fantastic. I mean, you're talking about, highly effective plumbers. There's no better person to talk about that subject than me. I know, I'll tell you what, it takes me about 18 seconds to install a water heater.
Really? Where did you get your
Yeah.
skills?
YouTube. Same way. Yeah.
Yeah, that is the best teacher.
It's me. Before we get started, let me first acknowledge to all the plumbers out there that whenever someone refers to me as a plumber, I take it as an insult to the profession. So just let me acknowledge that.
They wouldn't let you in the club anyway, so don't worry about it.
No.
Awesome. All right. Well, I do have some plumbing skills. I can install a water heater. I can't do it in 18 seconds though. But I can do it pretty quickly. In fact, I remember when I first acquired my company Berkey's back in 1996, and acquired is a big word because I had no money whatsoever. And the person that, the lady that sold it to me, her husband had passed. So, she just financed it. So really and truly, it's not like I was some guy that had money and came in and started doing something. I
basically tripped over it.
I tripped over it. Yeah. I just couldn't get away from it. Right. And it just came in my lap and I tripped over it. And next thing I know, I own a plumbing company. But I did have some experience. My dad was a plumber, but I never learned how to really plumb because he used me as a guinea pig, right? I was the guy that dug ditches. I was the guy that had a chisel and a sledgehammer, moving the plumbing back in the wall. I never got to actually do it. And I was the guy that ran the pipe machine. And what a pipe machine is back then, I grew up in the Houston area. We actually piped our water in galvanized pipe down in Houston. And it was a very labor intensive job. And so I learned how to cut and thread pipe and I got really good at it. And then of course, if you had any natural gas, you did the same thing. You used black steel in that case. And, I would be able to cut and thread pipe. In fact, I got so proficient at a pipe machine that, I could run the thing without ever shutting it off. I didn't run it in reverse or anything. I just left it running and I was able to just run through it. And I remember I would get all the pipe sizes and the fitting that needed to be put on that pipe size would be written on a 2x4, and it would have the length, and then it would have an L on it if it needed an L. It would have the size on it, right? A 1/2 inch, or if it needed a T, it would tell me what type of T that I would need to put on it and which direction to put it on. So
how old were you when you were doing all this?
I started when I was about 12, and I got paid in quarters. So my dad didn't make a whole bunch of money with this plumbing company. And so I got paid literally with quarters. And so back then you had these little books that you could buy and you could stick your quarters in it. And I filled up, I don't know, a lot of those books. And then I had a lot of coins wrapped up. And I remember I saved them because I wanted a dirt bike. As everybody knows, if you're new to this show, I love dirt bikes. The first time I ever rode one, I was about 5 years old, and I fell in love with it. So here I am, 12, 13 years old, trying to save money to get my first dirt bike that I actually owned. And so that's how I did it, one quarter at a time. and then so that's how that was my plumbing career, basically, is how I did that. Thread and pipe really is what I did the whole time, or dug a bunch of ditches or busted a bunch of concrete. And I didn't even know there was a jackhammer. He never bought one of those. He used my back instead of buying a jackhammer. If they're going to miss the wall, let's at least make it a little bit easier than using a hammer, sledgehammer.
So you were the stereotypical joke. You spent your early years in plumbing just laying pipe everywhere.
That's right.
Stereotypical joke.
That's it.
You were the one.
That's right.
I mean, and quarters. I mean, back then, like, what did a dirt bike cost? About $15 back then.
The very first one I bought, I got it. It was a Yamaha YZ80, and it was $300, I think.
Woo!
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And brought it home, and I slept in the garage that night. I was so excited.
That's awesome.
I did. I slept in the garage all night. I just could not believe I had my own dirt bike. So that's how I got started.
Oh, the motivations.
The motivation.
Everybody's got different motivations at different stages of life. I love it.
Yeah. And so that's how I learned the goal set, right? That was really a lesson that I learned, was to set goals. And my goal was to get myself a dirt bike, and I would be the best worker I could be so that I could get there as quickly as possible. And that's really how it all kind of started. And then I would haul hay in Houston, Texas. Hauling hay, I don't think there's a worse job because it's so hot. It is so hot, and that stuff is itchy, and it gets all over you, and it's heavy. And you're throwing it up on the trailer, and as you add it up on the trailer, you're throwing it up over your head at the end. So it gets harder. The more you work doing it, the harder it gets. And then you get it all loaded up, and guess what you do, Landon? You take it to a barn that has no circulation whatsoever, and you put it in the loft. So now you're carrying it up a rickety ladder from the outside that's set on the trailer, and then you carry the daggum thing up, and someone grabs it. And so you're either in the loft or on the trailer lifting it up to them. And so the job just gets worse as the day goes. Putting the first hay bale on the trailer is the easy part. The last one's the worst part. So, yeah. So
plumbing was a step up for you, huh?
Yes. It made me love plumbing really, really quickly. It didn't take me long to figure that one out. So, how
did you progress? How did you progress in your skill set to go from, you're baling hay to, now you're laying some pipe to, I'm going to make this a career and become a business owner, sell a business, how did you?
Great question. Well, obviously, once I graduated from high school, I moved to the coast. I wanted to be on the beach. And I went to work for another plumbing company, and I actually learned plumbing from him. He didn't treat me like a grunt. So, learned some plumbing from that guy. And so I did that for a little while. Then I started a business, pressure washing hulls of boats. And, back then you would raise the boat up and dry dock it, and then they would scrape all the clams off of it, and, all the things that grow on it, barnacles, all the things that grow on the boat. Well, I had a friend that had a rental company that had a worn out pressure washer, and he financed it. It was $800. He financed it for me. And when I wasn't working for the plumbing company, I would go with, scuba gear, if you will. And I would go underwater and I would scrub these boats with this pressure washer. And then they'd pull the boat up. They pulled the first one up to check it, to see the work. And it was just as good as what they were dry docking. And so then I had a business. And so I quit plumbing and I started doing that. And then I sold that business. It's still in business today in the same town, still there.
Wow.
Yeah, long time ago. They did really well. It's evolved. It was called Seaside Detail, and is a paint store and everything else, but it's still there, which is cool. The original purchaser. So I sold that business for a whopping $90,000.
Oh, wow.
21 years
That's pretty
old.
impressive, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, $90,000 was like 900 billion.
Yeah.
I mean,
At the time. Yeah.
at the time, and for a kid that never really had a lot of money, right? And then I moved to Dallas with the money in hand, and got a job working for a new construction company building houses. I was a punch out tech, and the plumber, Mr. Berkey, was our plumber. And unfortunately, after I got to know him, got to know his crews and stuff, he passed away. And then that's how I ended up with Berkey's. That's the short version, obviously. But
wow.
I
mean, what a progression of your life, and it's just because you just kind of kept going, trying new things,
yeah, trying to find my
being willing
place.
to do the things that other people didn't want to do, and just what I've learned about life is the more that you keep going and saying yes to things and doing things, like you just eventually find yourself in the right place, and that's I guess that's what people call luck, right?
Yeah, it wasn't lucky while I was going through it.
Yeah.
That's for sure. And that leads us to what we're going to talk about today is like, I didn't have any business degrees. I didn't know proper structure of anything. The fortunate thing is a condition of purchasing the business with the bank, because the bank, was involved with her and myself, was that I needed to learn how to read financials so I know how to run a business. And to me, that was probably the biggest blessing I ever could have gotten. The biggest blessing, the biggest lesson, the biggest changer of everything for me. Because I didn't know anything. About a profit and loss statement. I didn't know anything about a balance sheet. And I think a lot of contractors today just don't know. They just hire an accountant.
Yeah.
And
I mean, which is kind of amazing, because I've been going at this now 25 or so years, and I thought it was amazing 25 years ago that nobody had a clue about their financials.
mm-hmm.
And you work with enough people and you see enough people doing it, but still today I come across people that just have absolutely no idea what they're doing with their financials, no clue about it, and it still amazes me because the only thing that's really important in business, like you know how to generate a lead and sell something, at that point in time, everything is dependent upon the financials of the business.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, that right there was the number one thing. And, obviously we will do more and more shows on this because it is probably the most important thing that we can do for the trades. That's why I built software or Sarah on this premise of financial statements, for that very reason, because that's more important than I can't think of anything more important than that.
No, I can't stress enough if you're in business, the number one thing that you need to do is to become a master of financials. Really, truly, I don't care if you got to take 15 courses. I don't care if it's foreign to you. I don't care if your mind doesn't think that way. You have to do whatever it takes to be able to have a set of financials sitting in front of you and be able to dive through them and fully understand what it all means, how it all comes together, and why the output is what it is.
It is. And even if you're a technician a plumber or AC tech, an electrician, it doesn't matter. You are technically a business for the business you work for. And you
I
should
mean, your life is a
treat it as
business.
such. That's right. Your whole life is a
You,
business.
if you think of your paycheck as your revenue stream, right? I
Right.
mean, your revenue streams, what comes out of that, the taxes come out of that. What do you spend the money on? What are you left with at the end of the day? And are you profitable or not?
Yep.
You know?
And if we can get our mind set properly on this idea that you are a business and you want to learn how to run your own business, you need to learn how to run your own business in the truck you're in right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You just need to, whether you want to go in business for yourself or not. But what I see a lot of people do, technicians, plumbers, electricians, is they become the top dog in the company and then don't do their part. They become like, I'm the guy, and they just put more pressure on the business to support them, right? And it's improper support. Like, for instance, I see a lot where guys that really excel become prima donnas. And if we can not become prima donnas and just continue to hone our craft and expand what we know, okay, you're great at doing this job. You're a great repair person. You're a great salesperson, whatever, in this industry. And you become the number one person revenue wise, but are you the most profitable company person in the company, right? I have
Well,
dated it.
why do you think it is people become the prima donnas?
I, I don't know. It's just, I see it. That's all I see. And
Here's what
I
I
don't
think.
think like that. So I don't really know, because it's funny to me that it's not funny. It just doesn't make sense to me that if you're doing really well, they don't owe you anything.
Well, I know you don't think like that, and here's how I know that you don't think like that.
Mhm.
Because if you were a prima donna, you would have been a prima donna when you were, the washing the hulls of the boats and selling that for $90,000 and living like a king and buying 58 dirt bikes and, you know, pretending you're God's gift instead of continuing to go on, get into a different business, build that business, sell that business, start this business, start the next business, and continue to evolve yourself. Prima donnas, the one thing that I've seen, because I've had a lot of high end sales guy prima donnas, is that they've got a certain level of gift, but then they get to this level and that becomes like their level set expectation. They don't want to go further. They don't want to develop their skill set anymore. They don't want to expand their life anymore. That's like, okay, I'm in a spot where I'm really happy and I got to just maintain my happiness. And the only thing that maintains my happiness is like showing everybody that I'm the king
Yep.
at this minuscule level instead of elevating and saying, you know what? Uh, I'm a $2 million plumber. I'm a $2 million air conditioning guy. Well, at some point, there's going to be a 3 million, a 4 million, a 5 million, a 6 million, a 7 million, and those people have just bigger goals and objectives than you
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a mindset thing. And if you're the top dog in a company, don't act like it. Continue to learn and evolve, right? And you can, and spread out and share and help and become that guy. And that's the kind of guys that I want, working for me, because I want to teach them how to read financials. I want to teach them how to be a business owner, because if I do that, I've really succeeded in my business. I'm not trying to hold anyone back. I want them. That's why we have $1 million trucks.
Yeah.
Every truck on the road is going to produce, on the average, $1 million, meaning some are going to be much higher, some are going to be just below it, and there's no pressure. And so there's a way to do this. So if you're just starting out and it's just yourself, you need to be able to replicate yourself. If you're doing well, let's say you started off on your own, or maybe you work for a company right now and you're doing, $1 million, or maybe you're doing $500,000, 300,000 in revenue. And every year, each year you're getting a little bit better, right? And you're not putting burden on the office staff to do extra things for you. Like, you're not filling out your paperwork. You're not finishing it. You're not, whatever. There's a million different things. But start thinking, like, if you ever want your own business, start running yourself like your own business where you currently work. And you may find that may be good enough, because when I got in this business, and this is 1996, there wasn't $20 an hour plumbers. That was very rare. If you got to 20, you're the big dog. That was a big thing. And now where are we at? 40? That's it? That's it? $40 an hour on the average? That's where we are? That's ludicrous. It shouldn't be that way. Plumbers should be making 150 to plus. And that's what I try to encourage and try to get done. And that's what we do here is we create an atmosphere where they can go even further than they were thinking and do it in a more efficient way. I'm not talking about making $100,000+ because you're working 70 hours. You're doing it on the overtime gig. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about doing it in a reasonable 45-hour week and having a life.
Yeah. So you see a lot of data. You see, plumbers around the country. What do you think is how much revenue does the average plumber produce? Just the average across the country, what you see
Well, what I'm seeing,
annually?
I would say the average is 250 to 350.
Yeah, that's probably pretty correct. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
a couple hundred grand.
Couple hundred, yeah,
Yeah.
to 300, 200 to 300. I mean, that's what it is, and it shouldn't be that way. And that the plumber should be making that, not the revenue he
Well,
produces.
why do you think that that's the average? And there are a lot of people out there that do that, and then you have a lot of people out there that are doing, like you said, 1 million and 2 million and 3 million. Like I had a plumber that did over 10 million.
Going to the right company that can support you to do that, right? I don't. My plumbers don't install water heaters like you were saying. They don't. They can do it in 0 seconds because they don't do it. They
Yeah.
can go. They find it. They need a new water heater. Fine. Somebody comes right behind them and does it. There's no guy riding with them. No, that's wasteful. I've got the data to back that up.
Well, that's how I install it in 18 seconds. I pick up the phone and I say, Billy, I need this installed tomorrow.
Yep. Hell, that was a record right there. That's about 4
There
seconds.
you go.
So, and so we saved their backs. We saved their careers. You know, we just put it. The business is built to support them. So we have a very weird org chart, right? People go, "Oh, what's your org chart? You need to put an org chart together. Who's doing what?" Right? You do, absolutely. But then I have an org chart for actual production of the business. And in the org chart, I'm not at the top, right? A normal org chart, I'm the CEO of the company. Everybody, I'm at the top. Then I've got managers to report to me, and then those managers manage their people, and then you got the office staff, and you got the this and the that. My org chart is technicians are the top, and then everybody does everything to support them so they can reach their goals. And if the plumbers reach their goals, or the HVAC techs or the electricians reach their goals, guess what happens to the people that are supporting them? They reach their goals.
Yep.
And so the org chart is everyone supports the guys in the field because I am not billyGO. You know what I mean? The guy that is billyGO is the person in front of that customer, the person answering the phone and talking to that customer. That's billyGO.
Yep.
Not me.
Yep.
Okay. And so
100%.
why should I be at the top? Right? Yeah, I'm the boss. I get it. But if we put the technicians, the plumbers, the electricians, all at the top and everyone pushes up to support them to be successful, you have $1 million trucks. That's how you do it. And then you have to have the support system that is easy and efficient. You can't have managers that when somebody calls in needing something and they're in a bad mood. So then you don't want to call in when you need help. You can't have that. You got to have consistency. You got to have support. You got to have mentoring. You have to have these things so that you can get this production from these people. And the other thing is, if you are a plumbing company, are you going to start a plumbing company? You need to have install crews just like you do in air conditioning.
Yeah, that's I'll tell you what, that is one thing. So that's my model. That's the model that our companies use, but it's almost always a change. The old school model of plumbing is still very pervasive. It's the air conditioning evolved a long time ago and separated, technician, installer, etc. Sales like they're all distinct in distinct little silos. Plumbing For some reason, it just can't. It's like, okay, you go out there, you sell it, you install it, you collect it, you do it, you do everything,
Hmm.
and you get paid a little bit for this, or you get paid hourly for that, and it's just this old school, and it just completely defies convention. I rarely have I ever met a solid plumber that really understands the technical aspects of plumbing, that can communicate at a high level with customers, that can has sales skills, and it can make sure the customer experience is great. Like, it
That's right.
just rarely, you know, rarely is that the case.
That's right. And so plumbing is a very proud occupation, and plumbers live and breathe the trade. They are passionate about it. I'm passionate about it. I get it. Um, and so we like doing good plumbers do good solid work, right? And so if you have an install team, you have your plumber that goes out that has the social skills, that can close calls, that can do all that work, right? And prepare. And then you have more plumbers. Probably, I don't know what the percentage is, but the majority of plumbers just want to be really good plumbers, right?
Yeah.
And those are your install leads. They're really good plumbers and they like doing plumbing. And so you let them. And so install plumbers get paid well too. They get six-figure jobs as well. They get the work done and they install a
Yeah.
lot. They have the opportunity to make six figures as well. And they're not dealing with the sales aspect of being a plumber. They're going out and being plumbers. But the beauty of this thing is, the most important part is, in the state of Texas, it takes a long time to get your licensing.
Yeah. Texas is
It's
one of the
tough.
most rigorous. Yeah.
And so I had to figure out a way to get around this, not illegally. I mean, like, all right, here's the rules, right? Here's the rules that
Yeah.
I'm given. How do I maximize the efficiency of the rule that I've been given? And the rule that I've been given says it takes 4 years to get a journeyman license. Okay. You can get a tradesman, you can get a sewer tech, if you will, and you get those along the way at our company, right? So if I have a very good plumber that gets no callbacks, that knows how to do plumbing, and he is a team lead in install, who am I going to put with him? I'm going to put somebody with him that's new to the trade
Yep.
so they can learn how to do plumbing.
So, how many of your trucks do you have two to a truck?
Only install crews, no two to a
Okay.
truck. The technicians are by themselves. We're plumbers.
Okay.
The guys that are out selling jobs are by themselves.
And then the nuance of this specific in plumbing that I found is kind of like, you're either good at selling, you're good at doing, etc. There's also this other nuance in plumbing that sometimes I found that you're either a drain tech or you're a plumber. You're not. You're rarely are you both.
Well, it's a it's a step ladder, right? So you're a drain tech first, and then you can move yourself into plumbing. But in Texas,
A lot of people love the drains and they just want to stick in the
well,
drains.
there's a lot of money in it. There's a lot of
I,
money in drains.
I'll never forget the time I became a plumbing manager. The first time I became a plumbing
No
manager.
way. Who is dumb enough to
So,
let that happen?
well, I had to fire the plumbing manager. So we had this
So we had an
business.
expert at plumbing
That's
management,
right.
fire the
So,
plumbing
so
manager, and then be the plumbing manager.
so we hired this guy that had 30 years
Was this in
experience in it.
California or where were you at this time?
Yeah, this one's California.
Okay.
So we hired this guy, and we had a branch going. It was established, and we had an established HVAC guy that was the general manager of the branch that I've worked with for years at several businesses. And then we hired this guy to run the plumbing side. Uh, we had a big name guy that had done this for 30 years and had his own businesses, and just real old school plumbing guy. And he had hired a whole bunch of people, and just could never get the revenue up. And so one day I'm just going over the metrics with him, and my partner and I are on the phone with him, and I said, "Hey, you've ran 34, the last 34 calls, you sold two of them."
Oh Lord.
This group of guys he had put together, these two guys. Between the two of them, out of the 34 calls, they sold two. And this one of them is this guy they've been raving about. So the data just does not show that he's good. So either, in my experience, either someone's stealing and doing side jobs, or they're just bad at their job. Like, what is it? What's happening? And so the guy, I'm like, get it fixed. I'll check in with you in a couple of days, see what's happening. So I call to check in. I said, so what did you decide to do? He goes, well, he quit. And I said, well, why did he quit? He said, because I told him you thought he was stealing. And I went, and so I'm like, you don't do anything else. I'm going to fly back into California, and then I'm going to sit with you and talk. And so I go in, and he's in the middle of interviewing this kid who, dynamic kid, looks like a young Tom Cruise, been a plumber for like 6 years and wants to sell and wants to get his shot. And I'm listening to him interview. He goes, well, you got to learn, you got to learn the ropes and you got to work your way up and you got to do this. So I might give you a chance, but you're going to work for a couple of years before you can sell and blah, blah, blah. And this guy, you can tell he's defeated. So he's getting ready to leave. And I pull the guy outside. I'm like, hey, listen, I listened to your interview. I think you're remarkable. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to interview you separately. I have a feeling you're going to be here and this guy's going to be gone.
Oh,
Can you
no
wait in your car
kidding. That guy would be so gone. Because number one,
so,
what would you do if somebody was setting your goals?
so I go back in and we decide to part ways with the guy, right? So I go talk to the general manager. I said, well, good news. We're going to figure out a new direction in plumbing. And he goes, what happened? I'm like, well, I fired the plumbing manager. He goes, well, who's going to run plumbing? I don't know plumbing. I said, well, me for now. He said, well, you don't know plumbing either. I said, well, I didn't know air conditioning either.
Yeah.
So I hired this guy and we built an entire new plumbing team and put this guy in as GM, and the business thrived. It was great. But
Nice.
that was the first time I was ever a plumbing manager. But as I did this, I walked through it. I interviewed every employee, and every single one of them was pissed off. And nobody was selling anything. And one guy's like, "Well, I told him I only like to be on drain calls, and he keeps putting me on the plumbing calls. And this guy only wanted to be." And he just wasn't. He was doing whatever he felt like in his mind was the right thing, but he wasn't using the talents that these people had in the right areas. And it was just so simple to put it together once you got to know the people and what their skill
Mm-hmm.
sets were and looked at the data. And yeah, so that was my first experience being the plumbing manager.
All right. Well, one of his worst mistake is he was telling the guy how his career was going to go and not allowing the guy to decide how his career is going to go.
Yep.
Right. And that's where we make a lot of mistakes, as owners. You don't set the goals. I learned that a long time ago. You let them set their goals and you help them achieve them. And that's what we do really well. And that's why we see the success. And then when I'm coaching, I do the same thing. Everything I'm telling you, I tell the people that I help build their businesses. It's the same thing. This is where you need to start. Is you need to realize that you need to support them and then put in a very good support system for them to just achieve whatever goals they have in mind. And that's how we do it. I mean, there's another byproduct of having installers. We were talking about that as well. So what happens when you have a plumber go out and you have no install team and he sells a job? Let's say he sells a water heater and it takes him, 2 hours. Okay. You have a full board. Your business stops. You think about this, guys that are listening, no matter what, when you have a guy that's doing all the work, every time he sells something, your business stops. You can't go run more calls because he's tied up. And now everybody on the board is mad because you're late or you can't get there at all.
Or worse, yet the dispatcher's pushing the guy to hurry up and move on and get out of the house, even though he should be selling and scheduling an install for a new water heater.
Yeah.
He's just like, oh, well, all right, well, we'll fix this. We'll move on. Call us back if there's any problems. See you later.
Yeah.
Dispatcher's telling you to move, and you just wasted thousands of dollars of opportunity.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Happens all the time.
All the time. So my question is, if you're new and you're starting out, you're starting a new plumbing company, would you do more repairs or replacements if you're going to grow your business? Because if you're by yourself, you need to be moving, right? So think about that, everybody out there. Keep moving, keep getting new customers, keep building, because you need to add a plumber at some point, or a technician, or a roofer, or whatever you're doing.
I don't know if it's available in your area, but one of the first things that I discovered in my plumbing journey as well was like, hey, I don't have the skill set or the people required to do certain jobs like repipes or, whatever might tie up the crews. So I went out and found somebody that you can sub the repipes to, and somebody that could do
Hmm.
specialized work in a sub capacity, so I could just keep my guys moving.
Yep. That's exactly right. Um, Now all of a sudden you have a bigger company because you have your techs available to run more calls. You have your plumbers ready. You have your electricians ready. Everybody's running more calls, which helps you scale. Now, back to that one thing you were talking about a minute ago. You're saying he had, don't remember, 34 opportunities and he sold 2, I believe you said.
Yep.
So here's another thing I want you guys to think about out there. When is the last time somebody was sitting around their house and said, I don't have anything to do today, so I'm going to call a plumber?
Yeah, it just doesn't happen.
It never happens. So how do we go to a home and not sell something?
Especially in plumbing, of all of the trades that I like plumbing the most, and I've always thought it had the most opportunity of any of the trades because there are so many every area of the home. With air conditioning, it's like, okay, you got the registers, the ducting, and the equipment. Right? With plumbing, you got, everybody's got toilets, showers, sinks. I mean, the entire home. Water heaters. I mean, it's
Oh,
just
and it's even more.
endless amount of
So you've
opportunity.
got the indoor plumbing, you got the under the
Indoor
house
plumbing,
plumbing,
outdoor
and you
plumbing.
got the
Yeah,
field, the lines to go to the cities, right? And so there's lots of areas where problems can happen.
yeah.
In plumbing, I love it so much. I just
I
love
mean, when you
plumbing.
go to when's the last time you've ever been to a home, even a brand new, perfectly built new construction home that doesn't have an area of opportunity for plumbing?
Oh
It
yeah,
just doesn't happen. Like
nothing like
every home you go to, there's $50,000 opportunity. Every home.
yeah,
You know,
nothing
you just
like a
gotta
belly
find
in
it.
a line, right?
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
that is?
Yep.
Okay,
I do
I'll
actually.
just take your word for it because I'm not going to put you on the spot here and go, okay, well, what is it? That's fine.
Yes.
He knows,
It's
guys. Everybody
you
knows
take
he
that
knows.
endoscopic camera and uh, but
You're talking
real
about your
quick, by
iPhone?
the
You put your iPhone down in the sewer?
that's right. You just kind of put it in there. So, here's the one thing that you can maybe answer for me. I never understood about these cameras. Like, there was a question that came up one time: should we get, we had these different rigid cameras and such, and it was like, should we get the one that's in color to show the homeowner, like just the black and white, or the one that's in color? And everyone's, oh, we got to get the one that's in color. I'm like, there ain't many colors down there. You know,
No,
is
there
is
really
it
isn't.
worth is it worth the one that's in color?
We get some music
Never
playing too.
understood that. So, but by the numbers though,
Wouldn't that be a perfect
if
time to like literally have
oh,
a fart machine while you're showing that video?
oh, a little like spray, like
Yeah,
smell
we
vision.
got to take care of this.
Yeah. It's like, oh,
Can you imagine this
you
is
know
what
what
it's
though?
like in that pipe, Mrs. Jones?
That's the color and smell of money, baby. So but if you go by the numbers, just like break it down simplistically, if possible. So $1 million plumber over the course of the year. How many calls is one of your average plumbers running?
We
Per
run 3
day.
to 4 calls a day is what we're shooting for.
Okay, let's just be conservative and say it's three. Let's just be
Hmm.
so 3 times 5 days a week. So it's just running 15 to 20 calls a week,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
This call times 50 weeks. It's anywhere from 750 to 1,000 calls a year,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So if it's 1,000 calls a year, a million divided by 1,000 is pretty easy. It's $1,000 average ticket.
That's right.
Not a lot,
Not a lot.
not a lot, right? And
Mm-mm.
we kind of set a minimum threshold to target as 2,000 every time you go to the house. So it
Hmm.
doesn't take, in that case, it would only take 500 calls to generate $1 million in revenue.
Yeah, yeah. And so really it comes down to just being thorough, looking at the entire plumbing system and making recommendations is really all we do. If people are aware of it, they're going to make a decision, and you give them options. You don't ever corner them, the customer. That's not how we do it. We prefer to say, here's what you got to do today. Here's what I recommend you do today. And this is, this would be really cool if you did it today.
See, and that's I think the biggest problem with the way that the old school model of plumbing works, right? I think if I had to just put it into a bucket, the old school model is you send a plumber out to somebody's house who loves plumbing, wants to be a fix-it plumber, likes helping people fixing their problems, etc. Not a great salesperson, doesn't want to, you know, get them involved in a $15,000 job, just wants to go there and fix a problem, right? And so when you have that plumber that shows up, typically what happens is the customer will answer the door and say, "Here's my problem. Can you fix this?" And they'll say, "Oh, I can fix that. Here you go." And that'll be $300.
Yeah.
And they will completely disregard and they'll fix the symptom and completely disregard the underlying cause of whatever has caused that, you make that phone call
And
today,
that is a
right?
big thing that you're hitting on right now. Cause and effect is what we call it. And we coach this constantly. The effect is the obvious, right? But what's causing it is what
Yeah.
I think needs to be. Well, I know that's what we go for. Let's go to the cause of this problem. If you have a drippy sink, think about it like this. If you go to kitchen sink and it's dripping, you got a call. My kitchen sink has been dripping. I finally called the plumber. They're not very excited. They wait, and then finally they call, right? They're just like, okay, just go to the kitchen sink, fix that thing for me. Well, as a plumber, we hate those kind of calls on the surface, right? Because it's, not a very good call. You probably don't have what you need to fix it. You got to go get it. I mean, there's possibilities that this happens, half the time.
Yep.
It's a no profit call. But what is the cause for the drippy sink? A sink doesn't just drip because it's time to start dripping. I mean, water is always trying to find a way out. That's the beauty of plumbing. That's what makes it so nice. So what caused it? So typically debris gets in the seats, right? And now you've got a little bit of maybe that debris starts chewing away on that rubber, and then you created a little crease or a cut, and now the water's dripping. What caused that debris? The debris is the problem. So if you fix the faucet and it stops dripping, you didn't fix the cause. The cause was you got debris in your water system, which is very common. Minerals are in water. And so we train our plumbers to pull the aerator, and you look at the aerator and you show it to the customer, and you can see that there's debris in there. There could be rocks in there. There could be some blue plastic, some brown plastic, depends on the dip tube color. Now the cause, if you see the plastic, what's the cause? It's the water heater. If you see the minerals, what's the cause? There's no filtration system on the water system, which should have one anyway. And now, being a good plumber, you have to show them that here's your cause, and this is how we fix it. Because I'm really going to fix the cause. I'm not going to fix the symptom. I'm going to fix the symptom, but I have to fix the cause to do it properly.
And if you don't do that in other professions, that's called malpractice.
Yes.
Right?
And that's my whole thing is
Yeah.
a lot of plumbers find offense to this.
Yeah.
That's why. Because you really didn't fix it. You patched it. Because the problem's still there. You just stopped it from dripping. And by teaching your employees how to look for the cause and focus on the underlying cause of the issues, you just naturally have larger tickets because you have to fix more than the obvious.
Yeah.
And you need a filtration system. And so you sell a filtration system. However, if there's debris in that faucet, there's debris in the other faucets, right? Well, a lot of where we go wrong on these house inspections, you want to do the whole home inspection. We have a membership or maintenance agreement in plumbing. They're trying to do what AC companies are doing. And why they're not successful is because we ask if we can look at the other plumbing.
Nobody wants to oh, a whole home inspection is included, so why don't I just do this? Well,
You get
that's,
a no.
don't
No,
ask. Say,
no,
hey,
it's
here's,
fine.
yeah, yeah, here's what you got going on here. I need to check these things because of exactly what you just explained, and I will let you know what happens. Where's the other one?
Well, show,
Like that's
I'm going to go clean all your aerators out, is what you say. I'm not going to go do a whole home inspection so I can try to sell you something, right? Since this has debris in it, all your faucets have debris in it. So I'm going to, as a courtesy, we're going to go clean this out for you. I'll go clean all of them for you so you get the good water flow going. Well, now you're in the laboratory or in the bathroom and you pop the P-trap because guess what? There's a lot of hair in there, toothpaste, gunk, all that stuff, right? And you show it to the customer. And now you're, as a courtesy, you clean that one, you put it back together, you clean the aerator, and you have the opportunity to talk to them about the shower. The shower's probably slow draining. How much time is the water heater lasting? Your hot water. Do you run out of hot water? Well, because it's full of minerals. Remember those minerals we saw? So I need to go and look at the water heater. And then I go to the water heater and a couple of things happen. Number one, maybe it's 7 years old. It's in good shape, but it's full of minerals on the bottom. So you can sell a flush. So you flush it. Don't give away flushes in your maintenance agreements. Please, people, sell the flush. You deserve to be paid for that flush. It takes time and effort. Okay. Don't put that in your agreements, please. In fact, having a whole home inspection shouldn't even be in your agreement. You can get the entire home inspection just by using common sense when you have an issue and tying it back to the cause, right? Once you tie it back to the cause, you can go look at all the plumbing. And so now you're getting to see the water heater because you see the debris in the aerator. Okay. Now you've got a 7-year-old water heater. It's in pretty good shape, but you can sell a flush. Or you got a 15-year-old water heater. Now you have an opportunity to upgrade them, and you can talk to them about a tankless heater, which is an improvement over the heater they have now. They want continuous hot water, all the energy savings, all whatever. What is wrong with doing that? Why do plumbers have a problem with that? I don't understand. Because I am fixing the cause, and now I'm talking to you about options that can fix the cause. That shouldn't be an issue. And with the right training and understanding, never sell what they don't need, but let them know everything that's going on. And by letting them know everything that's going on, then shut your trap and allow them to decide what they want to do. Don't sell them. Let them decide. But be very thorough and show them. Quit rushing to the next job. That's the fault of the business owner. I stacked so many calls on him that he won't take the time to do this. And so if we could slow it down, they're
so your $1 million
determined racing.
plumbers that you've built, like, do they all? I mean, anybody that's producing at a high level, I'm assuming you've taught them the numbers, they've got the skill sets, they've got the support. That's probably it, right? In order to become a $1 million plumber, you need the support of a company that's going to be able to provide you with the call volume, all the tools that are needed to make it happen, right? Then you need to have certain expectations of your own self to be able to deliver that and the desire to be a multi-million dollar plumber, right? Then you got to have the skills and you got to have a repeatable process. And so you have to have that training, and constant learning, probably the next thing. And then number 5 would be you have to understand the numbers, right? So I'm assuming that all of your guys that are high level producers have an idea of, okay, 2025, I'm going to run approximately 700 to 1,000 calls. If I generate this average ticket, if I get this closing, if I understand these numbers, I can generate $2 million and make $300,000 for myself. They understand that kind of going in.
Yeah.
Do they have that goal setting? And
Yes. We have goal setting every year as a team, and each individual plumber sets their goals for what they want to do this year. We do not set it for them, and we do this in a public setting, and we discuss it. And if it's a little too far fetched, we'll rein them in and go, look, I want you to succeed. So I know you had a great year. You did 1.2. That doesn't automatically mean you're going to do 2 million next year. Sometimes, they go, oh, I'm going to 2 next year. All right, great. However, we're going to set it at 1.4.
Get on the right pathway. Yeah.
And then if you get to 2, awesome, you're going to win. And we have a $10,000 bonus every time they go over. If they go over $1 million, they get a $10,000 bonus at the end of the year. That is how we inspire them. And if they go to 2 million, they get $20,000 over and above everything they made already. And this is what really puts them up to the next level. Nothing better than going into, getting out of the holidays, credit cards are due from all the holidays, and all of a sudden you got enough money to pay your credit card off completely. And you had a really good Christmas, right? You went out and did everything you could do, and enjoyed it because you knew you had your bonus check coming. It really does change the mindset for sure. But and we love doing it. And we have a big party, the Millionaire Club party, for the guys as well. So it takes a village. Everybody in the company is supporting that. And you can start from the very beginning. I mean, my company's only 6 years old. We did it from the very beginning this way, and it took off. Majority of companies never reach 3 million in size. We reached 3 million the very first year in plumbing only, just plumbing. The very first year, 3.4 million. It was fantastic, but because we had a system put together, and we have 4.9 stars, we have thousands of reviews. We're not making anyone mad. We're actually informing them on their situation, and that's what it takes. It's just an organized approach. I think what's the most underestimated thing is we spend so much money trying to get calls, and then we overbook, and then we underperform. And we don't do anything that makes a customer go, I am going to use your billyGO or whatever forever. I love these guys, because we underperform. And we underperform badly. And overbooking is sheer case of underperforming. It is the worst offense. And you've got to coordinate it. You can't fall into that trap that more calls are better, because it's not. It's not. So I can control my spend by controlling how many calls I really want. And then I can pinpoint into the type of calls that I want and not waste time with wasteful calls, And that's how my guys succeed, because I am setting them up with a customer that's ready to do business with us. Now, if we don't do business with them, whose fault is it? It's ours, 100%. It's 100% ours, because, again, I go back to, there's never been a person in the world ever that said, I don't have anything to do today. I'm going to call a plumber, because I just like having them come out and telling them, I'm not buying from you today.
Not even in the age of YouTube does that happen.
It doesn't happen, man. They need you. Why did you leave with no money? Because you didn't do your job. They didn't like you. You didn't show value.
Well, and part of it's on us. So let's be real. In the average company that doesn't have a whole bunch of $1 million plumbers running around and a whole bunch of systems and protocols in place to support the plumbers, says, "Oh, I got an empty truck. I got to fill a truck. I'm going to hire somebody. Okay, they pass the background. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, here's your truck. Sounds like you're a go-getter. Go get it."
Yeah,
that's what you do, right?
Yeah. So if anybody really wants to learn more about this, feel free to reach out. You can reach me at billy@billygo.com, and I will answer any of your questions. I don't mind doing a 30-minute Zoom with you just to kind of walk through some questions you may have. That's definitely what I can help you with. It doesn't matter if you're a business owner or technician, you just want to get better. Doesn't matter. I can help you. And that's the mindset. We talked earlier about how, my career always was trying the next thing and doing the next thing. I fortunately reached a level in my career that giving back is very important to me, and in helping people move to the, higher and set new goals and believe that they are possible. And that's what I like doing. I spend 80% of my week That's what I do. Helping.
Well, somebody else got to carry on the torch and take it further, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's very doable. It's not very hard. It's just knowing the exact way to do it. And it's not being taught in the best practices groups like this. This is not what they teach. It's all about revenue and then really no substance behind how you get the revenue. So let's just cut to the chase and just say, this is how you do it right here. Just go do this. You'll be fine. Yep. I've enjoyed today's show. It's
get you back to your plumbing roots.
Back to my plumbing roots, man. That's what I like. I like it. Hey, I like air conditioning. I like electrical. I like it all. But I am a plumber. My dad was a plumber. My uncle's a plumber. My cousins are plumbers. All in the state of Texas. So it's what we do. I didn't think I was going to get into this. I mean, I didn't, but like you said, I kept tripping over this business that wouldn't let go. So I ended up with one. And then once I got one, I was like, do I have to do it like everyone else, or can I just try it, do something different? And
it's weird how it kind of pulls you in, because I didn't come from the same background. I've been pulled in to this thing, and I could never see myself doing anything out. I'll dabble outside the industry with stuff, but my focus is for the last 25 years and probably for the foreseeable future is plumbing, HVAC, electrical, home services.
Yeah.
And when I first started doing it, I'm like, oh, this is going to last for a long time. And I'm like, well, it just can't get away from it if I tried.
Yeah. And why would you?
Exactly.
It's the most beautiful occupation in the world, in my opinion. I love doing it, and I love the people in it. It's fun. So, well, awesome.
Way better people. Yeah.
Well, please tell your friends, like and subscribe. Any parting words for us today, Mr. 18-second water heater installer guy?
God, don't call me Mr. 18 Seconds. That's a terrible nickname. I called you the pipe layer, and you're calling me Mr. 18 Seconds.
Well,
$1 million plumber, many years ago, you probably didn't even think, wow, that's just like the best of the best. Today, I think I would challenge everybody here to say, if all of your plumbers aren't doing $1 million, you need to figure out what you're doing wrong and get them there.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that should be our industry standard floor going forward at this day and age. And just everybody's got to start wrapping their mind and getting their perspective that way. And once you start viewing the world that way, I think everything about your business changes. So if everybody can be $1 million plumber, make a couple $100,000, that's the floor base. That's what we should strive for.
Yep, that's right. And you'll have a healthy company that's making good money, and you can pay better than everyone else.
Yeah.
That's just the secret. And that's how you grow a business, a real business. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Good to see you. See ya.
No BS with Billy and Landon is produced and delivered to you by Sarah Systems. At Sarah Systems, we've created a better way to run your home service business and unlock unprecedented growth. Our field service software was designed by real home service professionals to help you save steps, charge for previously unbillable time, and win more business. But the true change requires more than software. Our live coaching helps you understand and control the aspects of your business that matter most. It's about time for a new era of service, and we're leading the way. If you're ready to join the hundreds of other contractors who've been able to increase profit margins more than 50% within 6 months, visit Sarah.tech today. That's Sarah, SERA.tech today.